Carl Sagan and the Dalai Lama. A cosmic convergence of science and spirituality. Imagine this. Two luminous minds. One a scientist who dared to unravel the secrets of the universe. The other a spiritual leader who has spent decades exploring the inner workings of the human soul. Coming together in a humble room in Dharamshala, India. This wasn't just a meeting. It was a moment where two vastly different yet profoundly complementary worldviews collided, creating ripples that would inspire generations to come. Can you feel the weight of that encounter? The sheer awe of what it represents. This is the story of Carl Sagan and the 14th Dalai Lama, a dialogue that transcended boundaries, bridged disciplines, and reminded us of the shared humanity that unites us all. Let's dive into this extraordinary narrative, not just as observers, but as participants in the timeless quest for truth, meaning, and connection. Picture the scene: a modest, sunlit room high in the Himalayas, where the air feels thinner, but the ideas are boundless. Here sits Carl Sagan, a man whose gaze often turned upward to the stars, driven by an insatiable curiosity about the cosmos. Across from him is the Dalai Lama, a figure whose calm presence radiates wisdom, his thoughts anchored in the depths of human consciousness and compassion. Their differences are striking. Sagan with his charts, equations, and telescopic visions of distant galaxies. The Dalai Lama with his meditative stillness and teachings rooted in centuries-old traditions. Yet, their similarities are even more profound. Both share an unyielding desire to understand existence, to explore the unknown, and to serve humanity through their respective paths. What made this convergence so remarkable wasn't merely their intellectual exchange, but the emotional resonance it carried. It was as if the universe itself conspired to bring these two souls together at this precise moment in history. Could there be a more perfect metaphor for the interconnectedness they both believed in? Here were two seekers, one peering outward into the vast expanse of space, the other turning inward into the infinite landscapes of the mind, yet both arriving at the same conclusion: that life is a mystery worth exploring, no matter which direction one looks. Consider the questions that must have lingered silently in the air during their conversation. What does it mean to truly know something? How do we reconcile the tangible evidence of science with the intangible insights of spirituality? And perhaps most importantly, how can we use our understanding of the cosmos and ourselves to create a better world? These weren't just academic musings. They were deeply personal inquiries that touched the core of what it means to be human. As they spoke, their words wove together threads of thought that had rarely been intertwined before. Sagan brought the precision of scientific method, the thrill of discovery, and the humility of acknowledging how much remains unknown. The Dalai Lama offered the richness of Buddhist philosophy, the power of compassion, and the reminder that knowledge without ethical grounding risks becoming hollow. Together, they painted a picture of a world where science and spirituality don't compete but collaborate. A world where empirical data meets introspective wisdom, and where logic dances gracefully with love. And let's not forget the ripple effects of their dialogue. Though the meeting took place in a small room in Dharamshala, its impact echoed far beyond those walls. For anyone fortunate enough to learn about their conversation, it serves as a beacon of hope, a testament to the possibility of finding harmony amid diversity. It challenges us to ask ourselves, how can we embody this spirit of collaboration in our own lives? How can we bridge divides, whether between cultures, disciplines, or ideologies, to work toward a common goal? So, as we reflect on this cosmic convergence of science and spirituality, let's allow ourselves to be inspired, not just by the brilliance of Carl Sagan and the Dalai Lama, but by the enduring lesson of their encounter. They remind us that the pursuit of truth is not confined to telescopes or temples, laboratories or meditation halls. It belongs to all of us, wherever we may stand on this fragile blue dot we call home. Who was Carl Sagan? A visionary. Among the stars, Carl Sagan, 1934-1996, wasn't just a scientist. He was a poet of the cosmos, Born in Brooklyn, New York, Sagan grew up gazing at the stars, his young mind brimming with questions about the universe. What's out there? Are we alone? How did it all begin? These weren't idle musings. They were the seeds of a lifelong journey into the unknown. From an early age, Sagan displayed an insatiable curiosity that would define his life's work. He didn't just want to know what things were. He wanted to understand why they mattered. His childhood fascination with the night sky wasn't merely about memorizing constellations. It was about connecting those distant lights to something much larger, the story of existence itself. Sagan earned his PhD from the University of Chicago and became a professor at Cornell University, where he conducted groundbreaking research on planetary atmospheres, the origins of life, and the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence. Yet, what truly set him apart wasn't just his brilliance as a researcher or his ability to ask profound questions. It was his unparalleled talent for storytelling. Sagan had a gift for translating the language of science into something accessible, even poetic, for people who might never step foot in a laboratory. His magnum opus, Cosmos, A Personal Voyage, 1980, wasn't just a TV series. It was a love letter to the universe, inviting millions of viewers to join him on a voyage through space and time. Through Cosmos, Sagan didn't just teach us about black holes, galaxies, and the Big Bang. He made us feel the profound beauty and mystery of existence. He reminded us that we are star stuff, atoms forged in the hearts of ancient stars, now capable of contemplating the cosmos itself. Isn't that breathtaking? Doesn't it make you want to look up at the night sky with fresh eyes? But here's the thing about Sagan. He wasn't just a scientist. He was also a philosopher, pondering the deeper questions of existence. He believed that science could reveal the wonders of the universe without diminishing its magic. In fact, he argued that understanding the cosmos only deepens our sense of wonder, and it was this openness to existential inquiry that led him to engage in dialogues with spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama. Let's delve deeper into what made Sagan so extraordinary. Beyond his scientific achievements, he possessed a rare quality, the ability to inspire awe while grounding it in evidence. For Sagan, the act of discovery wasn't cold or clinical. It was deeply emotional. When he spoke of the Voyager spacecraft leaving our solar system, carrying the golden record with sounds and images of Earth, he saw it not as a mere technological feat, but as a message of hope, a way of saying, we were here, we existed. Can you imagine the weight of that sentiment? It's as if Sagan understood that humanity's greatest triumphs lie not in conquering nature, but in finding ways to express our place within it. Moreover, Sagan's philosophical leanings often pushed him to explore realms beyond traditional science. He frequently reflected on humanity's cosmic insignificance, not as a source of despair, but as a call to humility and responsibility. If we are indeed star stuff, then shouldn't we treat each other and our planet with greater care? This perspective resonated deeply with audiences because it bridged the gap between intellectual rigor and heartfelt compassion. And let's not overlook his role as a cultural icon. At a time when science was often perceived as inaccessible or intimidating, Sagan became a household name, appearing on talk shows, writing best-selling books, and advocating for scientific literacy. He championed skepticism, urging people to question everything, including their own beliefs, but always with kindness and respect. His famous phrase, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence," became a mantra for critical thinking worldwide. Yet, despite his towering intellect, Sagan remained remarkably humble. He often marveled at how little we truly know about the universe, reminding us that every answer uncovers new questions. This humility is perhaps what made him such a compelling figure. He wasn't afraid to admit the limits of human knowledge, nor was he deterred by them. Instead, he saw those limits as invitations to dream bigger, to explore further, and to embrace the unknown with courage and curiosity. So, when we think of Carl Sagan, let's remember him not only as a brilliant scientist, but also as a dreamer, a storyteller, and a bridge builder between worlds. He showed us that science isn't just about equations and experiments. It's about wonder, connection, and the eternal quest to understand our place in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. The Dalai Lama, a beacon of compassion and wisdom. On the other side of this historic meeting was Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, a man whose wisdom flows like an eternal river, nourishing the hearts and minds of millions around the world. For over 6 decades, the Dalai Lama has been a tireless advocate for peace, compassion, and interfaith dialogue. His teachings draw from Tibetan Buddhism, a tradition rich in introspection, meditation, and ethical living. Yet, what truly sets him apart is not just his spiritual authority, but the profound humanity he embodies. A humanity that transcends borders, beliefs, and backgrounds. What makes the Dalai Lama so remarkable isn't just his spiritual authority, it's his willingness to embrace modern science. Unlike some religious leaders who view science with suspicion, the Dalai Lama has consistently encouraged Buddhists to engage with scientific discoveries. He believes that if scientific findings contradict Buddhist teachings, then those teachings must be updated to reflect reality. Isn't that a radical act of humility? To prioritize truth over dogma. This openness to learning and adapting reflects a deep understanding of impermanence, a core tenet of Buddhism, and demonstrates how timeless principles can evolve alongside human progress. Consider the broader implications of this stance. In a world where science and spirituality are often pitted against each other, the Dalai Lama offers a refreshing perspective. They need not be adversaries. Instead, they can coexist as partners in the pursuit of truth. By welcoming scientific inquiry into the fold of contemplative traditions, he challenges us to rethink our assumptions about both fields. Can we imagine a future where scientists and spiritual practitioners collaborate more closely, sharing insights that enrich our collective understanding of existence? The Dalai Lama's example suggests that such a future is not only possible, but essential. When Sagan met the Dalai Lama in 1991, it wasn't just a clash of ideas, it was a celebration of curiosity. Both men approached the mysteries of existence with open hearts and open minds, eager to learn from one another. And what emerged from their dialogue was nothing short of transformative. Their conversation became a testament to the power of intellectual humility and mutual respect. It showed that even when two individuals come from vastly different worlds, one rooted in empirical observation, the other in meditative introspection, they can still find common ground in their shared quest for meaning. But let's delve deeper into what made the Dalai Lama such a compelling figure in this exchange. Beyond his philosophical alignment with science, there is also his unwavering commitment to compassion. For the Dalai Lama, compassion is not merely a moral ideal, it is a practical necessity for human survival. He argues that without cultivating kindness, empathy, and cooperation, humanity risks succumbing to its own divisions and destructive tendencies. Doesn't this resonate deeply with the challenges we face today? From climate change to social injustice, the problems confronting our world demand solutions that go beyond technical fixes. They require a fundamental shift in how we relate to one another and to the planet. Moreover, the Dalai Lama's emphasis on inner transformation adds another layer of depth to his engagement with science. While science excels at explaining the external world, it often leaves unexplored the inner landscapes of the mind, emotions, thoughts, and consciousness itself. Here, the Dalai Lama bridges the gap, offering tools like mindfulness and meditation as pathways to self-awareness and emotional resilience. These practices, once dismissed by some as esoteric or unscientific, have since gained widespread recognition thanks to rigorous research showing their benefits for mental health and well-being. Could this be seen as evidence of the Dalai Lama's prescience? By advocating for the integration of contemplative practices with scientific inquiry, he anticipated a trend that continues to grow in significance today. And yet, despite his global stature, the Dalai Lama remains profoundly humble. He often refers to himself as just a simple monk, emphasizing that his role is to serve others rather than seek personal glory. This humility is perhaps what makes him so relatable. even to those who may not share his spiritual beliefs. Whether speaking to heads of state, scientists, or ordinary people, he communicates with warmth, humor, and authenticity. There's a certain magnetism to his presence, a quiet confidence that inspires trust and admiration. So, as we reflect on the Dalai Lama's contributions to the dialogue with Carl Sagan, let's remember him not only as a spiritual leader but also as a bridge builder, a visionary, and a beacon of hope. His willingness to engage with science, his steadfast commitment to compassion, and his ability to inspire across cultures remind us of the boundless potential of the human spirit. Through his life and work, he shows us that wisdom is not confined to ancient texts or sacred rituals. It is alive, dynamic, and ever-evolving, much like the universe itself. The meeting that changed everything. The year was 1991, and the setting was Dharamshala, India, a serene town nestled in the Himalayas. This meeting was part of the Mind and Life Dialogues, an initiative founded in 1987 to foster conversations between Western scientists and Buddhist scholars. The goal? To bridge the gap between science and spirituality, showing that these seemingly disparate fields could enrich each other rather than clash. But let's pause for a moment and truly imagine the scene. Picture this. Sagan, the astrophysicist, armed with telescopes and equations, sitting across from the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader, steeped in centuries of contemplative wisdom. On the surface, they couldn't have been more different. Sagan's world revolved around observable phenomena, data-driven conclusions, and the rigorous testing of hypotheses. His tools were instruments like the Hubble Space Telescope and mathematical models that sought to decode the universe's secrets. The Dalai Lama, on the other hand, drew from a tradition rooted in introspection, meditation, and the cultivation of inner peace. His tools were mindfulness practices, ethical teachings, and a deep understanding of the human mind. Yet, beneath the surface, they shared a profound commitment to understanding reality and improving the human condition. Both men approached their work with humility, recognizing the vastness of what remains unknown. Both were driven by an insatiable curiosity about existence, whether it was the origins of the cosmos or the nature of consciousness. And both believed that their respective disciplines could contribute to humanity's greater good. Their conversation spanned a wide range of topics, from the nature of reality to the limits of human knowledge. Let's explore some of the key themes they discussed and why they matter today. Now, consider the atmosphere of that room. It wasn't just a sterile exchange of ideas. It was alive with energy, curiosity, and mutual respect. Imagine Sagan leaning forward, his eyes alight with wonder as he explained the latest discoveries about black holes or the potential for life on other planets. Now picture the Dalai Lama listening intently, nodding thoughtfully, and then offering insights from Buddhist philosophy that resonated with Sagan's scientific findings. There must have been moments of surprise, perhaps even awe, as they realized how much their perspectives overlapped despite their vastly different methods. For instance, when Sagan spoke about the interconnectedness of all matter in the universe, how stars explode to create the elements that form planets, life, and even our own bodies, the Dalai Lama might have smiled knowingly. This idea mirrors the Buddhist concept of pratitya samutpada, dependent origination, which teaches that nothing exists independently. Everything arises in dependence upon causes and conditions. Such parallels weren't coincidental. They hinted at a deeper truth that transcends cultural and disciplinary boundaries. And yet, their dialogue wasn't without its challenges. Science and spirituality often ask fundamentally different questions. Sagan's inquiries tended to focus on how things happen, what mechanisms govern the physical world. Meanwhile, the Dalai Lama's questions lean toward why. What is the purpose of life? And how should we live it? Bridging these two modes of inquiry required patience, openness, and a willingness to step outside one's comfort zone. What made this meeting so transformative was not just the content of their discussion, But the spirit in which it took place, they didn't approach each other as adversaries defending their turf. Instead, they came as collaborators eager to learn from one another. This attitude of mutual respect created a space where genuine discovery could occur. It wasn't about proving who was right or wrong. It was about expanding their horizons and finding new ways to think about old problems. In many ways, this encounter symbolized a turning point in the relationship between science and spirituality. For too long, these domains had been seen as incompatible, even antagonistic. But here were two luminaries demonstrating that they could coexist harmoniously, each enriching the other. Their dialogue served as a powerful reminder that no single perspective holds a monopoly on truth, that the most profound insights often emerge when diverse viewpoints intersect. So, as we reflect on this historic meeting, let's appreciate the courage it took for both men to engage in such a bold experiment. They weren't afraid to venture into uncharted territory, to ask difficult questions, and to embrace uncertainty. In doing so, they showed us what's possible when we set aside preconceived notions and open ourselves to the wisdom of others. This meeting wasn't just a conversation, it was a catalyst for change. It challenged us to rethink the boundaries we impose on knowledge, and to recognize the interconnectedness of all forms of inquiry. And it left an indelible mark on everyone who has since learned about it, inspiring countless individuals to seek common ground in their own lives and work. Let's carry that spirit forward. What can we learn from their example? How can we apply their lessons to the challenges we face today? These are questions worth pondering as we delve deeper into the themes of their remarkable dialogue. Key themes: where science meets spirituality. The nature of reality. Is the universe illusion or substance? One of the most fascinating aspects of their dialogue was their exploration of reality itself. Sagan explained how science uses observation, experimentation, and mathematical modeling to uncover the laws governing the universe. From distant galaxies to subatomic particles, science reveals a cosmos far stranger and more intricate than our everyday perceptions suggest. For instance, consider black holes, regions of space-time so dense that not even light can escape their gravitational pull, or quantum entanglement, where particles separated by vast distances behave as if connected instantaneously. These discoveries challenge our intuitive understanding of reality, forcing us to rethink what we think we know about existence. The Dalai Lama, however, offered a different perspective. Drawing from Buddhist philosophy, he spoke about the concept of shunyata, emptiness, the idea that all phenomena lack inherent, independent existence. Instead, everything arises dependently on causes and conditions. Sounds abstract, doesn't it? But here's the twist. This Buddhist notion resonates with principles in quantum mechanics, such as entanglement and non-locality, where particles appear to influence each other instantaneously across vast distances. In fact, both perspectives suggest that reality is not fixed or static, but dynamic and interdependent. Isn't it incredible how science and spirituality can converge on such profound insights? While science focuses on external observations, spirituality delves into internal experiences, offering a fuller picture of reality. Together, they remind us that the universe is far more complex and beautiful than we can ever fully comprehend. Consider this. If science teaches us how things work, then spirituality helps us understand why they matter. By integrating these two lenses, we gain a richer, more nuanced appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Moreover, their discussion raises deeper philosophical questions. If reality is constantly shifting and interconnected, what does it mean to truly know something? Can knowledge ever be absolute? Or is it always provisional, shaped by the tools and frameworks we use to interpret the world? These are not just academic musings. They touch the very core of how we navigate life, make decisions, and find meaning in an ever-changing universe. B. The search for truth. Can we ever know it all? Another central theme was the search for truth. Sagan championed skepticism and critical thinking, emphasizing that science thrives on doubt. We must remain vigilant against biases and wishful thinking. He might have said, Only then can we ensure that scientific knowledge is reliable and reproducible. For Sagan, the pursuit of truth was a disciplined process, grounded in evidence and subject to constant revision. He often reminded his audiences that no theory is final. Every discovery opens new doors, revealing layers of complexity previously unseen. The Dalai Lama, meanwhile, highlighted the importance of discernment, prajna, in Buddhist practice. True wisdom, he argued, arises from combining intellectual understanding with meditative insight. By cultivating mindfulness and ethical conduct, practitioners can develop a clearer perception of reality and avoid being misled by ignorance or attachment. In Buddhism, wisdom isn't merely about accumulating facts. It's about transforming one's mind and heart to see the world as it truly is. Despite their differing methodologies, both men agreed on one crucial point. The pursuit of truth requires humility. As the Dalai Lama famously stated, if scientific findings contradict Buddhist teachings, the latter should be updated to reflect reality. Doesn't that attitude inspire you? It certainly impressed Sagan, who saw it as a model for integrating science and spirituality. Their shared commitment to revising beliefs in light of new evidence underscores a universal principle. Truth is not something we possess. It's something we continually strive toward. But let's dig deeper. What does it mean to embrace uncertainty in the search for truth? For Sagan, it meant acknowledging the vastness of the unknown and finding joy in the act of discovery. For the Dalai Lama, it meant recognizing the impermanence of all things and using that awareness to cultivate compassion. Both approaches invite us to adopt a mindset of openness, to welcome questions rather than fear them, to celebrate curiosity rather than cling to certainty. In doing so, they remind us that the journey toward truth is as important as the destination. C. Compassion and ethics. Can science save us without love? Here's a question that cuts straight to the heart. Can technological progress alone save humanity? Sagan warned that science, without ethics, could unleash destruction. From nuclear weapons to environmental collapse, the Dalai Lama echoed this sentiment, stressing that humanity's survival depends not only on technological advancements, but also on cultivating kindness and cooperation. Think about it. Doesn't compassion seem like the missing piece in so many of our global challenges, whether it's climate change, inequality, or political polarization? Empathy and unity are essential for finding solutions. Together, Sagan and the Dalai Lama reminded us that true progress lies not in conquering nature, but in nurturing it and ourselves. They challenged the notion that innovation alone can solve our problems, pointing instead to the need for moral grounding and collective responsibility. Let's explore this further. Imagine a world where every scientific breakthrough is guided by compassion. What would that look like? Perhaps it would mean developing technologies that prioritize sustainability over profit, ensuring equitable access to resources, and fostering collaboration rather than competition. It might involve redefining success not by material wealth, but by well-being and harmony. This vision aligns closely with the Dalai Lama's teachings on interdependence, the idea that our actions ripple outward, affecting others in ways we may not immediately perceive. Sagan, too, recognized the ethical dimensions of science. He often spoke about the dangers of unchecked ambition, warning that humanity risks self-destruction if we fail to temper our technological prowess with wisdom. His famous Pale Blue Dot speech captures this sentiment perfectly. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Together, Sagan and the Dalai Lama offer a powerful reminder that science and spirituality are not just tools for understanding the world. They are also guides for living in it. By blending rational inquiry with heartfelt compassion, we can create a future that honors both the wonders of the cosmos and the sacredness of human connection. After all, isn't that what it means to be truly human? To seek knowledge while remaining rooted in love, to explore the stars while caring for the earth beneath our feet, Why does this dialogue matter today? Fast forward to now. Don't we live in a world desperate for unity? For bridges instead of walls? Sagan and the Dalai Lama showed us that science and spirituality aren't enemies. They're partners in the grand adventure of understanding existence. By blending rational inquiry with heartfelt compassion, we can tackle global challenges like climate change, inequality, and division. Their dialogue wasn't just a meeting of minds, it was a blueprint for how humanity can move forward in an era defined by complexity and interconnectedness. Consider the state of the world today. We face unprecedented crises: environmental degradation, social injustice, political polarization, and technological disruption. These challenges demand more than just technical solutions. They require a shift in mindset, a reimagining of how we relate to each other and to the planet. Sagan's emphasis on evidence-based thinking and the Dalai Lama's call for compassion provide a dual framework for addressing these issues. Science gives us the tools to diagnose problems and develop solutions, while spirituality reminds us of our shared humanity and ethical responsibility. Together, they offer a holistic approach that balances intellect with heart. And let's not forget the younger generation. Don't they deserve role models who embody both intellectual rigor and ethical responsibility? In an age where misinformation spreads faster than ever, and where cynicism often overshadows hope, the example set by Sagan and the Dalai Lama is more important than ever. They remind us that curiosity and kindness are not mutually exclusive, that one can be both a rigorous thinker and a compassionate human being. For young people navigating a rapidly changing world, their story serves as a powerful inspiration. You don't have to choose between logic and love, between facts and values. You can embrace both. Moreover, their dialogue speaks directly to the need for interdisciplinary collaboration. The problems we face today are too complex to be solved by any single field or perspective. Climate change, for instance, isn't just an environmental issue. It's also a social, economic, and moral one. Similarly, inequality isn't merely a matter of policy. It's rooted in historical, cultural, and psychological factors. By integrating insights from science and spirituality, we can develop more comprehensive and effective strategies for creating a better future. Imagine a world where policymakers consult both data scientists and spiritual leaders, where engineers work alongside ethicists, and where educators teach not only critical thinking, but also empathy. This is the vision that Sagan and the Dalai Lama's conversation helps bring into focus. Their dialogue also challenges us to rethink the narratives we tell ourselves about progress. Too often, we equate advancement with technological innovation alone, measuring success in terms of GDP growth or breakthrough inventions. But what good is progress if it leaves behind the most vulnerable among us? What use is technology if it erodes our connection to nature and to each other? Sagan and the Dalai Lama remind us that true progress must be inclusive, sustainable, and meaningful. It's not enough to expand our knowledge. We must also deepen our wisdom. It's not enough to build smarter machines. We must also cultivate kinder hearts. Finally, their meeting offers a timeless lesson in humility. In a world increasingly divided by ideologies and dogmas, their willingness to listen, learn, and adapt stands as a model for constructive engagement. They didn't shy away from difficult questions or uncomfortable truths. Instead, they embraced them with openness and courage. This attitude is desperately needed today, whether in politics, education, or everyday interactions. By following their example, we can foster a culture of dialogue and mutual respect, one that prioritizes understanding over winning and collaboration over competition. So, why does this dialogue matter today? Because it's not just a relic of the past, it's a roadmap for the future. It calls on us to rise above our differences, to find strength in diversity, and to work together toward a world that honors both the wonders of the cosmos and the sacredness of human life. Sagan and the Dalai Lama didn't just talk about unity, they embodied it. And in doing so, they gave us a gift that continues to inspire and guide us, even decades later. Final thoughts. A universal quest. So, what can we take away from this extraordinary meeting? Perhaps it's this. Life is a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Whether you're peering through a telescope or sitting in silent meditation, the journey is the same. We're all seekers, searching for meaning in a universe that refuses to give easy answers. This shared quest for understanding transcends disciplines, cultures, and traditions. It unites us as human beings who yearn to make sense of our place in the cosmos. As you reflect on their dialogue, ask yourself, what am I curious about? What truths am I willing to revise? And most importantly, how can I bring more compassion into the world? These questions aren't just rhetorical. They are invitations to action. Curiosity drives discovery. Humility enables growth. And compassion fuels connection. Together, these qualities form the foundation of a life lived with purpose and integrity. Let's delve deeper into what it means to embrace this universal quest. Consider the act of curiosity itself. When Carl Sagan gazed at the stars, he didn't just see distant suns. He saw stories waiting to be told, mysteries begging to be solved. Similarly, when the Dalai Lama meditates, he doesn't merely seek inner peace. He explores the depths of consciousness, probing the nature of reality from within. Both approaches require courage. The courage to face the unknown, to challenge assumptions, and to remain open to new possibilities. Isn't that what makes life so profoundly beautiful? The fact that no matter how much we learn, there will always be more to explore. And yet, this journey isn't solely an intellectual endeavor. It's also deeply emotional and ethical. Think about the moments in your own life when you felt most alive. Chances are, they weren't just times of personal achievement, but also instances of connection, kindness, or awe. Sagan and the Dalai Lama remind us that knowledge without heart is incomplete. True wisdom lies not only in understanding the mechanics of the universe, but also in nurturing relationships, fostering empathy, and contributing to the well-being of others. After all, what good is unraveling the secrets of the cosmos if we neglect the sacredness of the earth beneath our feet? Because in the end, isn't that what it's all about? To connect, to care, to keep reaching for the stars, even as we honor the sacredness of the ground beneath our feet. Their dialogue challenges us to live with this dual awareness, to dream big while staying grounded, to pursue progress without losing sight of what truly matters. It's a call to balance ambition with humility, innovation with ethics, and individuality with community. Ultimately, the legacy of Sagan and the Dalai Lama's meeting lies not in the specific topics they discussed, but in the spirit of their exchange. They showed us that the pursuit of truth is not a solitary endeavor. It's a collective journey that invites collaboration, respect, and mutual learning. By embodying this spirit in our own lives, we can become bridges ourselves, connecting worlds that might otherwise remain apart. And perhaps, in doing so, we can help create a future where science and spirituality, reason and compassion coexist harmoniously, guiding humanity toward a brighter, more enlightened path.